My conversation, my casual conversation with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. People. My generation, we fought segregation and we fought against the Vietnam War. We fought Bull Connor and J. Edgar Hoover. People, Nancy, you cannot have military stormtrooping through the halls of Capitol Hill just because less than 5 police officers are shot. This militarized zone at Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., it's a sign of mental illness, your paranoia, your paralysis by fear. 2 police officers are impacted and you have a complete shutdown, a militarized shutdown. You are allowing terrorism to dominate you. You're allowing the terrorists to govern Capitol Hill. You are a victim of the tyranny. It's like trying to win the battle against the British Empire with fear and no defense and no offense. It's like ordering George Washington to stand down because he is too conservative. He's a right winger. And you're trying to fight the British tyranny and all you get is the Boston Massacre. And so you clamp down on your own people and you have your own military stormtrooping through Capitol Hill, but you don't fight your own fears and you don't overcome that which paralyzes you. There is nothing to fear but fear itself, and yet you fear the fear and you're paralyzed by it. That whole stormtrooping, the military running through the halls of Congress, that is overkill. You have allowed the terrorism to dominate the policy. 2 police officers went down and you go into a complete lockdown and shutdown. This is a mental illness of the Democrats. It's a mental illness. We've had 2 presidents, the last 2 presidents, this one and the previous, who have had their own versions of psychological mental illness. Dementia for Biden and Trump, whatever mental illness he suffered from, disguising himself as a Republican, when in reality he was not Bible Belt. But now he's got so many Trumpers believing that he is the savior of the Republican Party, as he does not see his mental illness. Nancy Pelosi, both you and Trump, and even Biden, the 3 of you make such a grail lot. And Harris, who's not even qualified to be VP. You know, I ran for political office a long time ago, and I forewarned that Osama bin Laden was going to strike. And I had this economic program, managerial administrative job training. This is not minimum wage jobs. These are big money, higher tax bracket job training. I was rejected. The people rejected me because they wanted someone more like Biden and Harris. They didn't want someone like me. And I lost the election. And a couple of months later, Osama bin Laden struck. And over 3,000 people died. Two endless wars. Young men who weren't supposed to die came home. And I went to the funerals in Texas of many of those young men. Alex, Juan, and so many others. Then Saddam was removed. Bush was convinced and obsessed. Saddam was removed. Then came civil war in Iraq with Iran. Shiites and Sunnis. Then ISIS. And that whole disaster. I tried to change our past and I was rejected. I competed to be VP for Joe Biden. But Joe Biden was obsessed with putting a female of color. And I was rejected again in the midst of COVID-19, which has taken so many lives. Twice I have tried to change our past, and twice you all forced us to live a future that it was never meant to be lived. The Pandora's box is wide open. Harris was never meant to be VP. I was supposed to be the vice president. Just like I was supposed to get elected back in the day before 9/11. These military running through the halls of Congress because of 2 police officers killed. This is overkill. You are paralyzed by the terrorists. It is embarrassing to watch you Democrats govern. Embarrassing. It's not what the United States was all about. This republic is handcuffed by fear. Perception is the greatest deception. Nancy, you are afraid of the enemy. And you have allowed the enemy to force you to shut down Capitol Hill. Every time one police officer goes down, you go into a lockdown. You are governed by the fear. The perception is the greatest deception. And it governs in the name of Biden and Harris. It is chaos. It is not USA, USA. It is chaos in the midst of fear. I don't know what else to say except, hoorah.